All right. Is the student vice president here? Or is
Mr.
there
Speaker, the president is not here tonight. She had a prior conflict, but I'm happy to deliver reports on behalf of the undergraduate executive branch.
Sure. Vice President Robinson, you're recognized to report on the executive branch.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And it's nice to see everybody, even though we are on Zoom tonight, but I look forward to seeing y'all back in person on our regular meeting schedule going forward. The work of the executive branch continues along many of the same lines. We're very, very happy with where external appointments are at this point. I want to thank Chair Gary for his tireless efforts to ensure that we could get all those folks through committee, as well as Chair Maladkar. They really worked to accommodate us on some tight deadlines, and so we very much appreciate that. As we now have a full judicial branch and a number of other important positions that'll be full with students in positions to advocate for themselves and their fellow students for the coming year. So very excited about that. Hardship parking has, again, the reform continues. I was privileged to be able to attend the graduate Senate meeting last night and brief those folks on the upcoming reform efforts. And at this point in my report, I would actually like to yield just a few moments to Theodore Nollert, the president of the Graduate Professional Student Government, just to introduce himself, as I was able to do to the graduates last night, if that's all right with you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Thanks, Sam, for making time for me here. Christian, I appreciate the invite as well. We're not very formal over in the grad side of things, so I'm not really a titles guy, but appreciate the invitation. Happy to update you guys a little bit. We are, of course, our big thing is grad stipends usually and trying to get representation for the professional schools, but we do have a couple points of overlap. The Joint Governance Council has some plans in the work to overhaul perhaps parts of the Constitution and a couple of other clerical code things that affect all of us. We're always interested in trying to do a budget audit. So I know Nate Knuffman, the VC for Finance, is preparing to release an all funds budget that should be of interest to all of us, I think, as we try to advise the upper administrators on the allocation of funds around the university in ways that may or may not already be reflected in the budget, and eager to collaborate with you guys and make sure that we can deliver thoughtful and productive proposals in that arena. Otherwise, if anybody has stuff that you think is going to require collaboration between the two branches, always happy to hear from you guys. And Sam, unless there's anything I'm missing that I should be updating folks on, I will go back to being a observer in this space.
Thank you very much, Theodore. And to just give a little bit more information on the reforms that Theodore mentioned, the Joint Governance Council will be calling a working group for anyone who would like to participate from the undergraduate or graduate side to address a number of these reform issues. The thought being, if we can present these recommendations to the chancellor, he would perhaps be inclined to make some of them by his own signature. And if he did not want to make those decisions unilaterally, then we would be in a position to have some students or group of students prepare a referendum campaign to ensure that those corrections could be made, to make sure that student government's working as well as it can. Obviously, I think we all know there's a lot of work to be done on that front. But overall, we're just continuing to do the work we've been doing. And I'm happy that I've been able to work so closely with the speaker on our speaker series. Happy to say that all of our formal invitations and letters are going out in the morning. So if there is any political or government style leader that you want to make sure we get an invite to, feel free to just shoot me a direct message here. We've invited pretty much every major political leader from both parties from the state and federal level that have to do with North Carolina. So if there's anybody you want to make sure that we don't miss out on, again, feel free to send me a message and I'll make sure that we get that person added to the list going out in the morning. Other than that, I'm happy to take your questions and glad to see everyone.
Are there any questions for the Vice President? All right, seeing none, thank you, Vice President Robinson. Treasurer Grotsky, you're recognized.
Thank you. I will be very brief. First funding night went well. I'll let Dennis tell you more about that. The Senate is on budget, which is really good. Sometimes they've been over budget going the first couple of meetings, so well done to the Finance Committee. Yeah, I'll let Dennis speak more about that. We are doing the completely separate issue. My office is going to be doing a Campus Treasurers Council with an advisory council from student organization treasurers from across campus. My deputy Stephen is currently coordinating on that. He has sent emails out to various treasurers, inviting them to sit on the council. We're currently just waiting on responses. So stay tuned for more on that. Finally, I am in contact with Amy Singleton from Finance and Operations as of last week. We'll probably follow up again before the end of business tomorrow. She's waiting to meet with Nakia Shepherd Lynch from the Provost's office for further planning. But the anticipation is that SFAS should be scheduled pretty soon. SFAC will be scheduled then to proceed. SFAS will be meeting with the same units to discuss fee changes, and then those meetings will then be used to generate recommendations that will then go into a presentation to SFAS when the time comes. Yeah, so hopefully that'll all be happening soon. There's a pretty tight timeline per my conversations with Nate Knuffman. There's a pretty tight timeline that has to be obeyed in order to have these in front of the Board of Trustees, in turn, in order to have them in time in front of the Board of Governors. So my expectation is that should happen very promptly. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Treasurer has yielded to questions. Are there any questions for the treasurer? All right, seeing none, thank you, Treasurer Grotsky. Do we have a report from the USG Director of State and External Affairs?
Yes, we do. Awesome. Hi, everyone. Two quick updates and then a third. So the first update is on our sexual assault prevention efforts in the community. We are working with Goodfellows, who has an Ask for Angela program at their bar for students who are in unsafe situations to reach out to a bartender and ask for Angela. We are coordinating with them now to schedule a meeting about how that program is set up and to see if we can work to expand it to other bars in the Chapel Hill community ahead of Relationship Violence Awareness Month in October. Two, SEA senior staff is working on a brief on the North Carolina AL officers and the Department of Safety and determining whether or not they have de-escalation efforts after the incident involving a student on Franklin Street a few weeks ago. So I will have more to report on that soon, but want to get that information out to the student body about the officers who have been on campus and have been involved in several altercations with students thus far. The last update is about the CCC and the social host ordinance, which I talked about last meeting. There was a working group meeting on Tuesday, and it seemed that they were not going to be bringing the petition. Quick update. So at the last meeting, I said that they were going to be presenting and there would be public comment. That is no longer the plan of the CCC. They are now planning to issue a petition to the council instead of a large-scale presentation, which means there will be no public comment when it is presented. At the meeting on Tuesday, they also entertained not presenting it at the meeting this upcoming Tuesday, but rather at the meeting at the end of the month, which I believe is on the 28th, but I will double check on that. So I just emailed the head of the CCC to confirm that they are not bringing it forward on the 14th, but the branch is also planning to issue a statement on updates on the ordinance. Those are all of my updates right now, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. Do we have a report from the Undergraduate Student Attorney General?
Hi, yes. At the moment, we have 7 cases pending charge and 25 pending a hearing. 6 of those 25 cases have hearings set to run in the next few weeks. And that's about all I have.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. Do we have a report from the Undergraduate Honor System Outreach Coordinator?
It is entirely possible that he is not here tonight. I believe that he had a prior conflict. I can give, if it's okay, I'm not sure if there's a procedure that I need to follow. I can give an account on what's going on with outreach. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, outreach is going well. We have been holding recruitment events over the last few weeks. We've had 2 in-person interest meetings and several pit sits. Our application for general admission into the honor system closes tomorrow. And I believe that there are a few more events that outreach is planning on being present at later in the semester. Those are still being planned at the moment between the 3 branch leaders, but that's a general idea of what's going on in outreach.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have a report from the undergraduate student government advisor? Bobby, are you here tonight? All right, it appears that Bobby is not here, so we're going to move on. We are now in line for reports from officers of the Senate. Chair Stevens, you recognize the report on the Ethics Committee?
Thank you.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
hello,
I'm sorry, Chair Stevens, I apologize. Vanessa, did you have something?
I believe you skipped the honor court chair.
Oh, I did. I apologize.
It's okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, honor court chair, you recognized?
Yeah, no, it's not an issue at all. Yep. We of the 6, we have 3 cases sitting next week. Vanessa summed it up pretty well. And as for the applications, as for Sam, look out for an email. I'll be reaching out probably today or tomorrow to get on my 4 nominees for vice chairs up onto the R&J. The next, I know one was today at 6, but the next upcoming R&J committee. But that's all I got.
All right, are there any questions? All right, thank you. We are now in line for reports from officers of the Senate. Chair Stevens, you are now recognized to report on the Ethics Committee.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. I hope you all had a great long weekend. I'm going to try to keep my remarks short tonight. So first of all, please email me or fill out the Senate absence form if you plan to miss a Senate meeting or committee meeting. The other chairs can't excuse absences, and you might receive an unexcused absence if you don't email me or fill out the form directly. It's just harder for me to track down who's going to attend, who's not going to attend, so I really appreciate it. Secondly, several senators have accrued too many absence points and have had their voting rights suspended. If you've received notice of this, you need to complete an attendance plan. Email me or respond to my email that I sent you, and I will work with you to regain your voting rights. And then finally, several senators have received an attendance warning. If they're not present tonight or have not received an excused absence and talked with me about that, their voting rights will be revoked. These senators were Senators Vashakidze, Kreider, Kungl, Bass, and Freeland. So that's all for me today. Are there any questions?
All right, seeing none, thank you, Chair Stevens. Chairman Malacca, you recognized to report on the O&A Committee?
Hi, everyone. Nothing too big for the O&A Committee. We had our committee meeting last week and we reviewed 5 nominees, a few of them for the RESPC, and then for the Disability Advisory Committee and the Administrative Board of the Library. We continued working on projects. We have some stuff on RHA, some stuff on creating a town hall / pit sit, and then sustainability legislation. On top of that, we're just working on some of stipend review in the background. So that's about it for O&A.
All right, thank you, Chair Malacca. Chair Gary, I believe, is not here. Is there anybody that, did he appoint anybody to give a report from the R&J Committee? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Chair Erdl, are you here tonight?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'll keep my message incredibly brief. We had our first finance night last week. We heard from about 40 RSOs, and I'll give you some stats on that. There was $210,000 requested. We had $131,000 budgeted. We appropriated $128,000. And then next week we have another 40 RSOs. So yeah, we've been funding at a rate of about 65 to 70%, which is higher than most years because we're kind of spending down on the reserve that built up during the COVID years. But yes, that's what finance has been up to. And also, quick note, if you're on finance committee and have failed the treasurer's test, like we stated last meeting, it is impossible to regain your finance voting rights. So please reach out to either Christian or myself on transferring over to another committee. Yeah.
Are there any questions for Chair Erdl? All right, seeing none, thank you. Pro Tempore Anadora, you're recognized for a report.
Hi, everyone. So not a whole lot, just continuing with the process for getting Senate staff applications processed. We're going to be having conversations about the interview, hopefully early next week or this weekend. So we're going to get the ball rolling with that. And we'll just keep you updated on how that process is going.
All right, thank you, Pro Tempore Anadori. Not much for the speakers report this week. Thank you to everybody for all the time you put in with these committee meetings this last week. That were a lot of nominations and funding requests. So thank you for everybody for being attentive and getting that taken care of. As you see in the consent calendar tonight, that was a lot of work, so thank you. Only other thing I've got is the safety walk that I spoke about 2 weeks ago. There's been continued communications with the police department, UNCPD, and scheduling that. Like I said, last time it'll be in mid-October. Right now, we're just kind of setting the parameters for that. And obviously, as I get more information, I'll give that to you. Final thing, this is the second week in a row where we've had a really close call with attendance. If you know any senators, or if you're friends with any senators that haven't been here in a while, or that Chair Stevens might have just mentioned, please reach out to them. We want everybody to be here. We are far more productive and representative of the student body when everybody is here in attendance. So please, if you know anybody who hasn't been here in a while, please pressure them to make it back, because it allows us to do our job better. But apart from that, that's all I've got. Does anybody have any questions? I apologize. All right, seeing none, we're now entering the public comment period. Are there any public comments for the Senate? All right, seeing none, we are now going to move. Let me pull up the agenda, apologize. All right, we're now into general orders. The first one we have is USB 10442, a bill to improve the administration of justice by providing greater discretion to the Supreme Court in selecting the cases it will review and for other purposes. Chair Ertl, I believe you sponsored this one.
Yeah, so essentially this bill is mainly designed to bring the code and constitution in line with, well, the joint code in line with the Constitution. So after the split in student government, there was some wording that's not in line with the way things operate. And so what this essentially does is gets rid of that. So essentially chapters 3, 7, and 8 of Title 3 of the Joint Code are basically moot at this point. So this kind of gets rid of that unnecessary wording.
Does anybody have any questions for Chair Ertl? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion into the voting period?
I motion to suspend all necessary rules and pass this with unanimous consent.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there an rejection? All right, hearing none, this passes. Congratulations, Chair Ertl. Moving on, we have USB 10443, a bill to promote fair practices in the conduct of election campaigns for political offices and for other purposes. Chair Ertl, this was you as well, I believe, wasn't it?
No, I believe this was Chair Addy, or by Senator Addy, but I am a co-sponsor on this bill.
I apologize.
Point
Senator
of
Addy, are you here?
information, Senator Addy is having difficulty with Wi-Fi. He notified me that he wouldn't be able to present this. Chair Ertl, would you be able to instead?
Right. So essentially, this bill was kind of designed in talking with some of the members of the Board of Elections, and essentially it's designed to bring the code kind of in line with the student constitution again, but this time in terms of the Board of Elections. It will kind of help speed up their process. They've had some issues with how like quorum works and like appointments and whatnot. And so this just brings what's written in the joint code in line with the Constitution, but for the Board of Elections this time.
Perfect. Are there any questions for Chair Ertl? All right, seeing none, is there a motion in a voting period?
I motion to suspend all necessary rules and vote by unanimous consent.
Is there a second? Is there any objection? All right, hearing none, congratulations, Chair Ertl, this passes. There are no simple resolutions on the calendar this week. We're now in line for the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Move to adopt the consent calendar.
Second.
Second.
Is there any objection? All right, the consent calendar has passed.
I move to adjourn.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Second.
Oh, wait. I got a comment. Hold on.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So Carolina for the Kids is going to be hosting a fundraiser at Little Frat Court. It's going to be big. Entry fee, I think, is sold out, but they're allowing 100 people to come in for $16. It's a really good cause. I support it. And yeah, just come on out if you want to do something with your day. So
Senator, what date and time is that?
it's at 8 o'clock in about 30 minutes.
Oh, so it's right now.
Yeah, literally.
Absolutely. Are there any questions for the senator? All right, hearing none. Is there another motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second? Well, I just made it, sorry. Any objection? All right, hearing none. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Awesome.